Kendra, thank you for joining me on Not Nosy, Just Curious podcast. I mean, we had a little glitch right there and you were patient. Thank you. Thank you. I so appreciate it. So tell me about yourself and tell me this path that you've discovered.
Well, my name is Kendra Mahan, otherwise known as Kung Fu Kendra, and I'm a third generation master in the Ip Man lineage. That's a lineage of Wing Chun Kung Fu, a very popular lineage now because they've made some Hollywood films based on Yip Man. He's our great grandmaster. Um, I've been training for about 23 years and I've created online Kung Fu programs to help people learn Kung Fu. I've developed the world's largest global Kung Fu Alliance organization, which has over 250,000 members right now. I've written a book called Push Your Way Through, and it's a book about how to use the ancient principles of Kung Fu to get what you want. I'm very busy every single day, but I think it's important to find balance and to find time to take care of yourself. And I'm here today because I want to share some of my insights and tools with the world.
So, Kendra, is Kung Fu a very methodical movement, or is there a very spiritual connection to all the movements?
Kung Fu is a very mind and body correlation art. So it emphasizes the yin and the yang, so the mind and the body, to create a style that ultimately means skill. So Kung Fu comes from China and it means skill, unlike karate, which is more of a competitive sport. Same with Taekwondo, Jiu-Jitsu. Kung Fu is a journey of self-awareness, self-development, self-confidence, self-discipline. I would have to say that most martial arts are like that. But to be the ultimate martial artist, you would want to have the mind and body connection.
So, Kung Fu is not, as you said, with all the other practices, it's not a defensive practice. It's not to be used in the capacity of anger or fighting.
Well, Kung Fu is a self-defense practice. So you are correct in that it's not a competitive or aggressive form of martial art. It ultimately means skill. So to learn to defend yourself. I do not encourage any of my students or anyone that I work with or publicly advertise to look for fights or to, show people how tough you are with your moves. That's not what it's about. Ultimately, Kung Fu is to seek peace and to find a way to harness that peace without the fight.
So every movement is very particular to a certain feeling, or is the means to an end?
Absolutely. In Wing Chun Kung Fu is the style of Kung Fu that I practice. It's close range combat. So it's perfect for self-defense. It's perfect for a smaller person against a bigger person because you're learning to use their energy against them. And we call that the economy of motion. The style of Kung Fu that I teach and that I've learned is Wing Chun Kung Fu. And it was created by a woman over 300 years ago, a female nun named Ung Moy. And she was a part of the Shaolin Temple. There's a big, long story of the history of this particular woman, but she created Wing Chun because she was small and had to defend against larger warriors. So it's the perfect style to use the economy of motion, be a smaller person against a larger person, and to learn how to maneuver energy or chi to gain control of a situation so that you can find help or get help
So
in a situation.
So as you say, gain control, you must have to stay in your mind. You can't get angry, or you can't, it can't be action reaction. It has to be very calculated. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? You can't
Absolutely.
go off,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. When you go off, so to speak, or get angry or get triggered, that's your ego. That's your ego coming
Oh,
into the
that's so
picture.
interesting.
And when your ego comes into the picture, a lot can go wrong. As an example, let's say you're showing off. You know, we've all kind of shown off once in our life, right? And have you ever shown off, but you also tripped at the same time, or something ridiculous happened to you because you're working with your ego versus your
Okay.
internal
Yeah.
direction. And so the defense against someone coming at you should be to maintain calm to a certain degree, but to see the end goal of getting away to safety. So if you're grabbed, if you're pushed, if you just feel you're a little too close to someone, you know, you need to just get away. There's no point in looking for a fight because that does not end up well.
So it's not a matter of strength, or power. It's a matter of, like you're saying, to get away. Actually, you're not looking for a confrontation, really, right?
Absolutely. It's not about strength, it's about smarts.
Okay, and most fighters aren't smart, right? I mean, they're aggressive.
That's
They're going in for
again,
the kill.
exactly. So
How
they're
did you
yep.
How did you become so interested? I mean, I'm finding this very, very interesting. How did this start, this path for you? I mean, were you, I mean, what, I can't even find the words, Kendra. I mean, it's so, yeah, how did you find this path, and the education and the knowledge you have? You didn't just learn this practice, you learned the history.
Yes, I've made my whole life about Kung Fu and the mission of Kung Fu. So I started training 23 years ago in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, at the Canadian Wing Chun Kung Fu Academy under Master Brian Lawadney. And the reason I started Kung Fu training was because I was unfortunately attacked at a very young age. And you know, after I got through a bit of the trauma and the anxiety of the healing process, I knew I needed to learn to defend myself. And then I entered the school, and,
So
you
you
know, the rest is history.
Okay, so you originally chose this path as a defense, to defend yourself. You have since learned that it's so much more than that.
Absolutely.
I mean, it sounds so very spiritual, Kendra. I mean, it's like there's some kindness to that. If it almost sounds yin and yang, like you're saying that it's a defensive practice, yet there's some kindness to it based on the spiritualness of it all. I mean, am I making sense?
Yes, absolutely. There is the I'm going to do whatever it takes to save my life aspect to it. You know, let's be honest here that Wing Chun is a martial art where we learn to, you know, gouge fingers through eye sockets, strike vital points on the body to really, you know, hurt somebody. And that's only done if necessary. That's the kill or be killed aspect of it. Okay. Now, that's not where we want to go with it. Obviously, if you're in a situation where you need to defend yourself, you
Okay.
are looking to escape the situation where you can be safe. So, you know, the practice does bring out a spiritual aspect when you're going through the training because you're learning to move your body in ways you haven't done before. And by doing that, you're getting in touch with parts of who you are because you're challenging yourself. You're learning coordination, you're learning flow and movement. And there's such a peaceful and, like you said, kindness that's developed in getting to know yourself from the inside out.
Are there levels of this practice, Kendra? You know, like the black karate has the levels of belts. Is there a level of beginners, intermediate? I mean, do you ever succeed the highest level in Kung Fu? Or is such a thing? Is it a thing?
Well, in Wing Chun, Kung Fu, in my particular style, which is traditional Wing Chun, we do have a ranking system. So you learn levels 1 to 10. And at level 10, you receive a gold sash. It's like a belt, but it's a silk sash that you wear around your waist. And you become what we call a Sifu. Now, after that, there's a few more levels of development in terms of how many students you're teaching, and you kind of move up from there. And then you end up at a purple sash, which is where I'm at now. That is master level. And we're always continuing to learn. It's never the end of the journey. But in terms of belts and status, that would be the end of the road.
Now, are they competitive belts?
Not at all. They are not at all.
No.
And the reason for that is, level 1 to 10, which is the entire curriculum, there's no belt system. You're just getting a certificate. You've passed, you're basically no belt. And when you reach that final test where you have to present and demonstrate everything you've learned, that's when you get awarded the gold sash, because now you're ready to become a teacher.
Okay. And is that ultimately the goal?
Everybody has their own
Oh my God. I'm buffering.
goals, but everybody has their own goals. Some people want to become a teacher or a Sifu, which is what makes my course very unique. I offer that path from beginner to Sifu level. Some people just want to learn self-defense, and some people are just on a spiritual journey where they want to learn a little bit of Kung Fu. So for everybody, it's different.
And can everybody learn? I mean, are there some people, I mean, does it require a lot of coordination?
Well, to be honest with you, anyone starting out into Kung Fu or martial arts is going to have to learn coordination. It's not something that is going to come entirely natural. So there is a small learning curve, but it's easy to get over once you start practicing, and anyone can learn Kung Fu.
Anyway, I mean, so one body type doesn't have an advantage over another body type.
Absolutely not. Some of my students are even in wheelchairs. So the art is for anybody, and techniques are modified for anybody, and self-defense is available for anybody.
Okay, fair enough. It just, it seems very, like I said, it seems like one of the more peaceful, calmer practices. I mean, you seem very peaceful.
Thank you.
I mean, was that a learn? Did you have to learn? I mean, did you have to learn to calm down? Did you have to learn it wasn't just the movements, it was a temperament. Did you have to learn all of this collectively?
Absolutely. The training produces more patience because you are taught to be patient with yourself. And when you become patient with yourself, you are patient in the outer world as well. So, I mean, there's always some noise in the world. Our days are filled with constant distractions and obstacles and a flurry of noise and problems, knowing how to navigate those situations with exercise, with meditation, with taking a nap, with eating nutrient dense food. These are all things that can help contribute to being calm, being present. It's not a special gift that anyone's given, but it's more of a choice that we have. And I've learned that over the years. I mean, my life hasn't been easy. I lost my mom a year and a half ago. Um, I'm building a
Sorry.
Kung Fu empire. Thank you. And, I'm in a male dominated industry. There's constant noise coming at me all day from online haters and harassment and bullying. And, that's just one thing. Then I'm building programs and I'm moving forward, and there's just so much that a human being deals with. And we have a choice on what we're going to let in and what we're not going to let in. And once you make that choice, you can, you can live a very peaceful internal world.
But it is a choice, Kendra, 100%, but it's a practice. It's something you have to do all the time. Given the rudeness of people, sometimes you do kind of get sucked in. You start circling the rudeness drain, you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
it's a practice. And like you said, you have to choose to not go there, and some days harder than others. Like you said, your challenge is being in a male predominant world. I mean, it's like we've come a long way as women, but they're still not ready for us, Kendra. You
They're
know?
not. I know they're not. And when you're extremely good at what you do, like myself, and not to toot my own horn, but I'm very good at Wing Chun. And when you're also good, you're also building a Kung Fu empire that's kind of taking over everything. And you're a female. I mean, people are going to go out of their way to try to stop you. And this happens with a lot of important figures in history. I mean, it's happened with Jimi Hendrix, as an example. His quote would be, he faced a ton of adversity, and he'd say, I just let the music speak for me, right? We've got people like Eminem, a famous rapper. The haters tried to hold him down. Look at him now. He's super successful. And his quote would be, behind every successful person, there's a pack of haters. I mean, even as an example, Donald Trump, whether we like him or not, I'm indifferent, but his success was created by people just talking crap about him. And he's now the most powerful man in the universe. So the whole idea is that when someone is targeting you and focusing that much on you, it means that they're either threatened by you because they're insecure and you're actually doing something that's changing the future. So it's kind of like a badge of you're going in the right direction, if that makes
So
sense.
you're saying embrace the haters.
Absolutely.
Kind of
Absolutely.
don't give them, yeah, just don't give them the energy, embrace them,
Yeah, the best thing to
right?
do is, yes, if they're driving you that crazy, block them. I always recommend that. But there's always going to be a new one that pops up, especially when you're on your way to the top. So the best thing to do is just ignore them. Don't read comments and look at it
But
as a badge of success.
so for you, it's not about getting to the top or the success. It's about getting the importance of this practice and this discipline out there. I mean,
Absolutely.
you don't care if you're at the top, do you? You're not doing it for that. You're just doing it so more people understand this practice.
Absolutely. I'm building a world where people can learn Kung Fu um, at their convenience and not have to deal with, a hurtful community. So my reach is global. I try to help people even one-on-one to learn self-defense. I've recently created a women's self-defense program as well, because I find that there's actually not a lot of resources out there for women. There's not a lot of courses being offered. And for me, that's a part of the mission, is to educate everybody into how to defend themselves. And that is the ultimate goal.
And, and that was, you were never driven. This is strictly educational, whatever. It's not driven by monetary gain.
Absolutely not. I mean, there is so much work involved with building any empire or any form of business that you're trying to do. Of course, there is an aspect of, I'm spending my whole life doing this. Maybe there will be a little bit of money that trickles in. I mean, we're not that ungreedy, but at the same time,
right.
But at the same time, there is a huge demand for online learning and a huge need for it, because unfortunately, Kung Fu schools are fading away. Kung Fu is kind of a dying art. We've got MMA coming into the scene. We've got Jiu-Jitsu. We've got Brazilian kickboxing and all these things. And Kung Fu is just kind of, so for me, it's also the preservation of this traditional sacred art.
Well, yeah, I mean, but the other practices that you mentioned, they're all very aggressive practices. I mean, is it fading away, Kendra, because it's not aggressive like that?
It could very well be. I don't like watching UFC or MMA fights. I don't like watching people get hurt, and I don't like violence, obviously, but it is coming into the scene, and it could be just a part of the world that we live in now. We're exposed to a lot more vile things and on TV, and a lot of things are accepted more that weren't before. So I'm not sure what the reason is, but I find with a lot of my students, they're in their between 40 and 60, and they are wanting to learn Kung Fu because they wanted to learn it when they were younger. Because when they were younger, all those cool Kung Fu movies were popular. And so a lot of that is demographic. Are they new, young students? No.
Okay.
So
that's interesting.
There is a something to be said about that.
Yeah, it's interesting that your demographic is older. That the younger kids, maybe because of the online, like you said, they're so saturated with online aggression, and they pick up on those other practices versus this more calm, passive practice.
Definitely.
Now, can you, I mean, you're in a man's world, Kendra, can you be, when you need to be, can you be aggressive and forceful?
Of course I can, and but I do it in a professional way. So if I ever need to be forceful or aggressive, I do it the Wing Chun way, which will be just use the opponent's energy against them. They say the cream always rises to the top. So if you are a good intentioned human being, then every conflict will eventually work out for your best interest. It may take time, but do I yell at people? No. Do I get angry and type mean things? No. But there is an assertive way to be aggressive.
Okay. And that's a working word right there too, Kendra, time. We're too impatient to give, these altercations time to work themselves out.
Yes. Yes. It feels like a burning weight to have things resolved.
Just too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And if we do, you're absolutely right. If you do step back from it a little bit, it will work itself out.
Yes.
But you're right. I mean, time, you have to, we, we so, yeah, I don't know. Like you said, we're just getting more angry, and your demographic group is probably just over it and they want to find some peace,
Hmm.
you know? It almost sounds like this might replace like yoga. Am
Well,
I like on two different planes here? I mean, because the practice is so methodical and it works out so much of the body, and it involves such a thought process, could it eventually just get rid of yoga? I don't mean to step on no yoga toes, but just curious.
well, yoga and kung fu are quite similar. So whether it's going to take over yoga, I doubt it. But they are aligned with each other. So a lot of people who
Okay.
train with Wing Chun will also train with yoga. I offer a Wing Chun program, and I also offer a yoga program because I do yoga as well. And they are simultaneously connected because of the mind and body connection.
Okay. See, I thought that was pretty smart on my part. Wow. Good job, Yvonne. So, so, and this has just been, I mean, this is such a curiosity for me. I find it fascinating. Um, yeah, Kendra, you've been so delightful. I mean, would you do this again with me?
Absolutely. And thank you so much for allowing me to share my story and help promote
Oh,
self-defense.
I know you got so much more to that story I want to hear. In closing, can you give us something very profound in closing?
Something I always like to say is no matter what you're going through, it's not over till it's over. So it's like a chess game, it's not over till you've actually captured the king. And if you're familiar with chess, you might just have a king and a pawn left. As long as you can get that little pawn across the finish line to the other end, you've generated a queen and you're back in the game. So it's not over till it's over.
That's great. I appreciate the visual. I need the visual. That was great.
Okay.
Thank you, Kendra. I will reach out to you again. Thank you. You've been fascinating.
Thank you.
Fascinating.
Thank you.
Thank you. Say goodbye.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye.